All right, Saxon, Algebra 2, Lesson 3, we're talking about evaluating expressions and adding like terms. Okay, this is one of my favorites. So let's just jump right into it. Example number 1 looks here. If you are going to be substituting in a negative number in for a variable, you gotta use your parentheses or you're gonna mess it up. So this is what it should look like. We're gonna say parentheses, and our x is -2, squared times y, which is -4, minus -4. Notice I put parentheses for all of my variables there. That just helps me to visualize that I'm doing the right thing there and putting those in the right order. Sorry, I'll get a darker marker. All right, quantity -2 squared is +4. So we have positive, I said I'd get a darker marker, and that is absolutely not darker. What even is that? Okay, 4 times -4 minus -4. Okay, so we're going to take a look at this guy and see what we've got. We can do first 4 times -4 is going to be -16. So we have -16 minus -4. Now, when I take something out of the parentheses like that, I want to make sure to be very different about my subtraction versus my negative sign, because you don't want to make a mistake. Instead of subtracting negatives, we add, and then the opposite of negative is positive. So you add the opposite. That gives us -12. So when we evaluate that, we should get -12. All right, the next one, we have this here. Now this one already has some parentheses in it. So what I'm going to do is take those parentheses and turn them into brackets. And then that will help me when I'm putting parentheses for all my variables here. So for example, a is -2, and then I have brackets negative, and b is 4 minus parentheses -2 brackets minus -2 times 4. So you can see how it'd be a little bit confusing if you keep those as parentheses. So you'll see me write over them and make them into brackets or braces, which are the little curly Q things. All right, let's see. Inside our parentheses, we can, so let's clean this up. We have -2, and then we have -4 minus -2. Again, I'm very distinct on my subtraction versus my negative, minus -2 times 4. So over here, we're going to do the stuff that's in those brackets first, or in the parentheses, in the grouping first. We're going to add the opposite, and so that gives us -2 times -2 minus -2 times 4. Now we always do multiplication before we do addition or subtraction. So we're going to multiply and multiply. This is going to be +4 minus -8. Let's go ahead and add the opposite, and that gives us +12. So I always write the little answers just to make sure on the bottom. So we got +12. All right, so let's compare now like terms. Here we go for example 3. We want to add like terms. You'll get in the habit of this as you're copying it from your book, but this is what it looks like exactly in the book. You'll see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different chunks here. Chunks are broken up by addition, subtraction, right? They're technically called terms, but whatever, chunks. Now, within each chunk, you want to alphabetize them because that will help you identify like terms. I can see that this guy is out of order. So if I were to be copying this down from the book, I should copy it down like this. 3xy minus 2x plus 4 minus 6, and then alphabetize xy plus 3x. And the reason being is it'll help you identify like terms. So I always start with either our highest exponent or the largest number of variables that we have, but the answers are maybe varied. So just keep that in mind when you're reading the back of the book. So if we have 3xy, and notice I'm circling or underlining in front as well because I want the operation with it. So I've got +3, -6xy. So those are like terms. I'm going to do -3xy. Then I have -2x, +3x. So that's going to give me +1x. And then I have +4, so +4. So that's how I would write it. You may see it written like something like this, 4 plus x minus 3xy. Those are the same thing. It doesn't matter. When we get to exponents, though, you do want to put the highest exponent first. That's a good consideration. Okay, looking at this one, let's clean this up. Remember, negative exponents, if they're upstairs, you got to boot them downstairs. If they're downstairs, you got to boot them upstairs. So we have 3b, and I'm going to move that a downstairs, a squared c, minus 4b a squared c, plus 7, and then it looks like the b is going to stay upstairs, and it's going to be a squared c. That's a -1. So a squared c minus 4, and I'm going to alphabetize this one, a squared b over c. Okay, so which of these are like terms? Well, if you take a look at these, it might be better if you see, because if it's upstairs like this, it can be upstairs or it can be in front. If I wrote it like this, it might help you see it a little bit better. B a c, a squared c minus 4 b a squared c plus 7 b over a squared c minus 4 a squared b over c. So if I write it like this, it means the exact same thing as this, but now you can identify these numbers a little bit better. So we have 3 minus 4, which is -1, plus 7 is 6. So we have 6b over a squared c, or you could put a big 6 in the front if that's what you want to do. Now this one, you'll notice I didn't combine that. I just combined this, this, and this, because a squared b over c does not match these, and it has to match perfect. So we're going to say minus 4a squared b over c, and that is our final answer here for that guy. Okay, so let's try our practice. So here are the practice problems for this lesson. Pause the video, do those, and then come on back. Okay, so on this guy, we are going to do a2 and then -3 squared minus -3. All right, so we have 2 times +9 minus -3. 2 times 9 is 18. Add the opposite, and you'd end up with +3. So that gives us 21. All right, so this guy, again, I see some parentheses, so I'm going to throw some brackets around that so that it makes it a little easier. So we've got 2 times -3 minus brackets -2 times -3 plus -3. So we can clean that up a bit. We can do some multiplication here. That's going to be -6 minus, and then inside here we can multiply all those together, and that's going to give us negative times a negative is a positive, so +6 plus -3. So now what we have is -6 minus +3. So we've got minus +3. So that minus I just brought down to right there. So even though this is a +3, we're still seeing a minus sign there. We're going to go ahead and add the opposite, and we get -9. Okay, so let's look at this one. I'm so sorry, my nose itches because it's allergy season, and it's driving me nuts. Okay, 2x over a3m minus 5x over a3m plus a3m over x, because I'm going to move that upstairs, get rid of those. Okay, so they're trying to trick you again, but this is not a like term for these two. These two are, because they're exactly the same aside from the number, of course. So that gives us -3x over a3m plus a3m over x. And that is your final answer for simplifying that guy. If you have any questions, leave them below. Otherwise, great work, and I look forward to seeing you next time.